So if you were to look for a place that you could stop her and be kind of safe, what spot on that good girl, what spot on that circle do you think you're safest to have her facing? Kind of where she is, actually. This way she can see what's behind me. Right, and she has her tail to you. You're better off having her kind of right where you originally stopped her, because this way she can see what's going on behind me, she can see what's going on over there, and you're kind of aware of what she's looking at. Good girl. Good. You can just let her sit there for a second. So what I was going to say is, when you feel like you've got kind of control of her feet, then you're going to have to start practicing slapping the stirrups and stuff too, just so that noise doesn't suddenly become new again either. And it may not be, it may, just like with Rio the other day, the saddle slapping, that was something I did when he was still at Ohioville, so it stuck. So sometimes that sticks pretty easy. And we've definitely, good girl. So if you feel like you can get in there and do that, that's what I would do next. Or if you feel like you should still move her feet a little bit, make it all about your judgment, because it's what you're comfortable with, because otherwise you'll bring the wrong energy. Sure. Yeah. Just like what you said the other way. Good girl. Good girl. She got distracted, but went right back into a focused relaxation, which is nice. So like how she went from getting distracted to actually like thinking about, oh, I'm supposed to be relaxing. Like that's what I call focused relaxation. She knew she was being expected to show relaxation. So that's great. Good girl. You can spin her around to a stop if you have to. Just literally like send her tail in a tailspin. Like spin her out. I was going to say that's exactly what I was trying to tell you to do. Is if she wasn't listening to any slowdown cues, so then just spin her out. If anything, she was just revving up. So the flipping of the ears is kind of like what Rio does. She's trying to ask, did I do it right? So in a way, I would go over and just give her a little rub on her head and get back into safe if you can. Or if you feel like she's not inviting you, but she was originally asking, am I okay? Did I do good? So maybe take the kiss out, only because I think if you just point, she'll follow the point. And maybe that'll help you get a calmer start. She had a worried ear on you when you asked. So. She's like going into some kind of autopilot with that. Now, I like to ask you why you do things when you do things. Why did you stop her right there?
I stopped her right there because she had gone back to the walk. She'd gone almost all the way around with it. But she was starting to be like, but maybe I should do something else. So I was trying to like stop it before she got to that point.
Yep, because her pattern to trot is right after where she is.
Yeah.
So if you stop her before she took the opportunity to hit her pattern, she's going to trot again.
Yeah, like right about here, her face looked like the body looked like she was like, maybe I have to get back.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Basically, you got in the way of the thought. Come do something you know how to do really well. Did you? Oh no, it wasn't you. I'm like, did you say you were able to flip the stirrups? Or it was somebody else. Somebody else that's working with a horse that's being started also. Just make sure that line, you have enough of her nose in case she starts spinning around. That's not going to be the easiest time to gather more rein. But if you end up having to let go of the stirrup, then you kind of start a different situation. Good. Yeah, sometimes that just is like a one lesson deal, and sometimes it's 51st dates deal, but trick too is to never do it more than 3 slaps. You know, you could do 3 slaps 3 different times. No, but if you do more than 3 slaps, what that does is then they say, oh, maybe I wasn't supposed to keep my feet still. So then they ask, was that a driving energy? And then they start to move, and then it's really hard to get them back to knowing it's not moving. Good girl. Have you tried to ride in the saddle yet? So if you want, as a suggestion, are you coming later? Okay, if you want to bring that saddle so that you can get yourself physically used to that saddle, because if you have to bail out and you're not really familiar with the saddle, that's a scary situation to be in. Because you don't know what you're going to get hung up on. I can envision actually getting hung up on this, on your inner thigh. Or if you're not quick to think to take your feet out of the stirrups, you can get hung up on the stirrups. The rest of it seems smooth enough that if you had to bail out, you can really smoothly kind of get out of that. And there's nothing to really get hung up on the front too. But I do envision maybe having a little bit of a problem with your inner thigh getting snagged on this. Which will only, as you're bailing out, probably, I'm not trying to scare you, but could potentially snag you as you think you're going to go off, and you'll end up with a foot kind of under her, which may make you fall. Because it'll catch you just as you're thinking you're making your dismount, and then you get snagged just a little bit and it'll throw your balance off. It's just, yeah, so that's the only thing I would say is if you want to bring that, and we can use a different saddle pad or one of my saddle pads if you don't want to get my horse's hair on your saddle pad. And just so you can get yourself acclimated to this saddle.
Yeah, this is great.
And I don't see why this, I mean, I have all broad horses too, so I don't see why this saddle wouldn't fit any of mine. Okay. Yeah, and I mean, she's a broad girl, and so, I mean, that would fit Katie even, as obese as she is right now. I'm embarrassed. I told my farrier, I said, don't judge me. Yeah, but she's much healthier looking than my horses. My horses are obese. Okay, so now what I would do is I would drop the stirrups so that they can kind of bang her in the elbow, bang her in the ribs, and then move her around a little bit more with the stirrups dropped down and see if that starts anything. And if not, then we can play on the mounting block and see if you can kind of, you know, you can always do a side ride with her. If I honestly think if you haven't ridden in the saddle, it's not the horse to try that yet. You know what I mean? I have my bareback pad if you want to get on, but I'm thinking for safety reasons, if you're not familiar with the saddle, it's not a saddle you want to try to jump out of. She's being very good now. But yeah, I think if you just kind of make it a routine as if it's putting on her halter, just put the saddle on. I know I hate taking all my crap out too, but just getting her used to having that just be part of the routine, then it'll just be part of the routine. She won't have needing to do any of this stuff of getting used to it and lengthening back out. And,
Honestly, I don't mind that. I was really nervous. This was way better than the last time. So, it's fine now.
and you're so equipped to help her now. You know, like you kind of know how to get her out of your space, and you know how to get her kind of focusing on her feet, you know, and know that the worst thing to do is to stop a bucking horse. The best thing to do is run a bucking horse out of it. just let those stirrups they're gonna rub on their side, and they may or may not cause anything new or not. And I know, ironically, we've just finally got her to walk, but trotting will let us know see how it's kind of kicking her? A trot will kick her a little bit more. And now make a different noise. So, in a way, you didn't have a hope of getting her feet stopped. So, I don't disagree with you having let her go. If you felt like you had her emotional control, I would have definitely said you can't leave till I tell you. But it's starting to really bang her, so that's kind of what I wanted to see what would happen. And if you feel like you can, try to change directions. Nobody's telling you to take that gear. So that would be your broken piece today, is your walk. The downward. Because she walked at first. But her body's changed a lot. Like, she's not freaking out about the saddle anymore. And if you felt comfortable, the next thing I would want you to do, and it doesn't have to be today, would be to stand on the mounting block and flip the opposite stirrup up and down. And just be aware that it's possible by doing that, you're going to cause her to come a lot closer to you. I wouldn't do it as just grab and flap. I would wiggle it and see if she's going to react, and then see how much I can wiggle it before she tries to push me off the mounting block. That's okay, it added a new element. I was just sacking out your saddle. I mean, I would say as far as that, like, she's not really all that freaked out about the saddle anymore, and the stirrups banging on her aren't really bothering her. I was wobbly when you were getting on it before, it was scaring me, and that's the kind that tips over, so. A little over-exaggeration there, little girl. Good girl. What I would do is, I would reach over and just kind of move that stirrup side to side. See if she can handle that. If she's good with that, then see if you can't raise it off the side of the saddle. If she's good with that, then see if you can't, like, literally lift it perpendicular to her back. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Good. I mean, she's watching you, but she's not, like, none of her muscles moved, so she's not ready to jump out of her skin. Yeah, I started to teach another horse that yesterday. And, like, my goal is always to just be able to jump on the block and have them come from wherever they are. It's kind of like what she did. She's like, somebody's on the block. I'm supposed to do that. Did you want to try to do a side ride on her, or you want to? Okay. No, she's in the